In a new op-ed, Representative Steve Scalise is speaking out, calling their behavior a direct threat to our democracy.
House Majority Whip Representative Steve Scalise joins us now. Congressman, it's as if they forgot what happened to you. You were bleeding to death at second base because a Bernie Sanders supporter thought he had to kill Republicans. Do they understand that these deranged people just need a go sign and their aggression could be the trigger?
Well, you know, you're seeing more and more of this from the left, and there's no place for it. And what I wrote about was that when you see these kinds of things being said, it is inciting people, and frankly, it's not the direction that we should be going. It's not what our country's all about. You know, we're a great country that celebrates the fact we can actually disagree with each other. We can disagree with our government, but there's a way to resolve it. You resolve your differences at the ballot box. You don't resort to violence. And to see leaders calling on violence, that happens in third world nations, not in America.
Congressman, why did you decide to write the op-ed?
Well, I'm concerned that you're seeing an increase of this. You know, look, I would like to see leaders on both sides calling it out. You're seeing leaders on the right calling it out. You're not seeing any leaders on the left calling it out. In fact, you're seeing some of the leaders on the left inciting more violence, calling on more violence instead of saying there's no place for it. I'd like to see the mainstream media asking both Republican and Democrat leaders to stand up against this kind of rhetoric, this kind of violence.
Congressman Scalise, Maxine Waters just works across the hall from you in a figure of speech. You know, you work in the same building. Have you thought about going over to her office and saying, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
You know, I've talked to some Democrats about this, and there are a lot of Democrats that are concerned about it. I'd like to hear some of them speaking out publicly because I think that's what it's going to take to ratchet this down.
But why don't you speak to her directly, sir?
Well, I've spoken to a number of them directly, and I think the ones I've spoken to, you know, some of them get it, some of them don't. But ultimately, we've got to keep shining a light on this to make it clear that this isn't what politics is about in America. It's not what the founding of our country was about. It was about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, not violence against anybody. And, you know, Margaret Thatcher used to say, first you win the argument, then you win the vote. They're not winning the argument if they're resorting to violence, and ultimately they'll lose the vote if they continue to call on violence. Look, President Trump has worked really hard to get this economy back on track. People like the direction of the country. If they don't like the direction that we're headed, then go and try to lay out a better course and a better agenda. That's not what they're trying to do on the left. They're just trying to threaten and intimidate people, and it's not what America's about.
Congressman, I get the sense when I watch Nancy Pelosi that she feels like she's speaker already. Do you feel like it's done, that you should get set for the minority? Or do you feel there's more time on the clock left with 3.5 weeks?
There is a lot more game left to be played. I was just in Pennsylvania yesterday in a number of swing districts, and you feel a lot of momentum right now our way. I think people were angered by what they saw in the Senate the last few weeks. And frankly, when you talk to them about the economy, they like what they're seeing. People are working. They're getting higher wages now because of the work we did with President Trump to cut taxes. You're seeing an economy that's booming, and yet Democrats want to raise taxes. They want to abolish ICE. They've got a very leftist agenda that's out of touch with the people I'm talking to when I go to swing districts.
So you don't think it's over? Okay, Congressman, great message.
I think we hold the House.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.